for helping my son go through a liver transplant. My son worked for a labor union that would start in spring and end in fall. Every year, now, it was time for him to start back to work. After that, he had worked for 4 days. He noticed that he had trouble walking on his leg. His wife was concerned, so she made him a doctor's appointment. This is where it all began, and his life was changed that day. He went to the doctor, and as soon as the doctor saw his leg, the doctor sent him straight to the ER because his leg was twice the size of the other leg. The doctor had no explanation of what was going on. At this point, he couldn't walk on his legs. Then he formed a blister on top and back of his leg. The doctor had no idea what caused it, but thank God it started to heal. Then after that, it took a turn for the worse. He had to stay in the hospital for 16 days, and upon his release, the doctor informed him he had hepatitis C and cirrhosis of the liver. He was then referred to a liver specialist who informed him that he could no longer work until further notice. Then after that, the doctor told him he had liver cancer and he wouldn't make it without a transplant. Then he went back and forth for multiple testing to make sure he was fit and qualified to receive a transplant. Then after a few days later, his wife told him about a co-worker's son that had passed away, and she wanted to donate her son's liver. Then my son and daughter-in-law went to the hospital to wait for final approval. In the meantime, they did a rush order to distract all of his teeth. They had to come out before he could get the transplant. His teeth were so bad. Then some bad news happened. The surgery fell through. Then the hospital informed him they had to take him off of the transplant list because his insurance would not cover for a hospital out of network. So his wife put him on her insurance where he would be covered. Then they put him back on the transplant list. Everything was working out. Then he was able to continue his radiation treatments, and the doctor informed him that he had 3 spots that showed tumors and that his cancer had got so big. So they scheduled him a procedure to try to split the cancer in half. Then all of a sudden, this is God, all of a sudden, the doctor called him and told him they had found the liver. And they were going through with the transplant. Then my daughter-in-law called me to tell me the good news. I was so thankful. I called the airport to get a flight, and I got one the same day. I get to the hospital, and he was doing great. Then after a couple of days, they moved him out of ICU. Then he was on the move. He was walking the halls, going up and down stairs, and even going outside. All the doctors and nurses were amazed how well he was doing. He stayed in the hospital for 9 days, and upon his release, listen to this, they took a look at his old liver. There were 7 lesion cancerous tumors on there. If the doctor had seen those tumors, my son wouldn't have received his new liver. God took care of every detail and situation that he had to go through. Always remember, God will make a way where there seems to be no way.